Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Meet the Asanas. My name is Katie, and today we're going to be starting with our seated postures. So we're going to be on the mat today, and we're starting with Dandasana. And this is the base for any seated posture, just like mountain pose with our standing postures. Dandasana is our seated postures. So it's really important that we get the proper alignment with this one. So let's take a look. So, remembering in mountain pose, if you didn't watch that one, make sure you catch it. So we talked about our pelvis, thinking about it as a bowl of water, right? So we don't want to spill forward and we don't want to spill backward, tilting too much. So it's all about keeping stable, keeping upright, and not spilling the water in our bowl. So on the ground. So, with our seated postures, we're thinking about rooting through the tailbone. We really want to center the weight on our sit bone, which we can really access by kind of pulling the fleshy part from our bottom, one side and the other, and then you can really feel your tailbone rooting down. Now, noticing how your posture is. So, if you're rounding too much, if you're arching too much. Now, our hamstrings, they connect in to the bottom of our pelvis. So, if we have tight hamstrings, then it's likely that this is going to be difficult and it's going to pull and round your back. And this can create compression and just not feel comfortable. So, if you have tight hamstrings and this is really difficult for you, take a blanket and place it under your seat. So this is going to give you a little bit of propping up, a little bit of height, and now it might be easier for you to feel the sit bone rooting down and creating a nice long spine from there. This might still be a little bit difficult, so in the event of that, just take a little bend to the knees, keeping the feet flexed to keep the legs active and engaging. So in and up, engaging that belly is really important, keeping the core nice and engaged and seated here. So again, if you have tight hamstrings, you can bring a bend to the knees. You can place a blanket under your hips to give you a little bit of lift. But generally, the posture is done seated directly on the floor. I always take kind of the fleshy parts, move them to the side. This really helps me to from anchor my tailbone down into the floor, back straight, feet flexed, legs engaged. And we have some gentle engagement in the lower body, so our upper body can be a little bit relaxed. So we're thinking about balance, balancing the effort with the ease. And Dandasana. So this is going to be the base, the start of any floor work, any seated postures that we do. So it's important to get that that foundation, the alignment. So since we're here, we can go right into a forward fold. So there's two ways we could do this. So there's more of an active and then there's a restorative posture. So I'll show you both of them. So for the active forward fold, again, we are engaging the legs, feet flexed, and spine long, and we're just crawling forward, keeping the integrity of the straight spine until you feel a nice stretch, until if you're going to lose the integrity of the spine, back off, and that is where you are. So maybe you're here, maybe it's just up here, but we want to feel a nice stretch in the back of the legs. Again, we don't want any pulling, any sharp pains. If you're feeling that, back off. It's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit of stretch, but sharp shooting pains are never good. So that's when you know you need to back off. So going down on your exhale until, for me, I have pretty open hamstrings, so I can grab my feet, but wherever your hands land, it's not about how low you are, it's about how straight your back is. So if you're up here, that's perfectly fine. And I like to keep just a small bend to the knees. This just, I don't know, just feels good to me. So honoring what feels good to your body, but we should feel a nice stretch in the hamstrings and the back of the legs here. And breathing deeply. And again, we don't have to crunch our shoulders up, opening the chest, rolling the shoulders down the back. And inhale to come up. So that's more of an active stretch. Now, to use this as more of a restorative pose, we can keep the feet flexed, but not so much really flexed and engaged, just kind of relaxed a little bit. So this would be at the end of a practice, more of a restorative pose. I recommend blocks or pillows for this. You can place them on the thighs just above the knees, one or two, whatever feels good for you. And this is probably one of the only times I'll tell you it's okay to round your back because we are just relaxing into this pose. So taking an inhale and then an exhale, just kind of rounding over the pillow or the block, whatever you have here. I'm going to use two pillows because that feels good to me today. Inhale and exhale. And then really just, this is kind of releasing the spine. It's gently stretching the legs, but that's not the main focus here. It's more just about being restorative and breathing here. And then coming up on your inhale. And that is Dandasana as well as seated forward fold. I decided why not just throw that in there since we're already on the ground and we're perfectly set up to do it. So thank you for joining me on the mat today, for giving yourself this time to build a strong and healthy yoga practice. So join me next time as we explore another asana, and I'll see you on the mat. Bye.